life is a lot, right? Like, I've been alive for decades, and I have seen things and been through things. But it may not all be bad, because research suggests the most resilient women might be the ones who've experienced the most. Have you ever noticed that certain people just seem a little different? Like, they've been through the ringer, but they somehow are able to handle life with this unexpected strength. Well, here are 11 subtle signs that a woman has been through a lot in her life, but she's come out the other side of it, all in one piece. She has disproportionate reactions. So have you ever seen someone stay completely calm and cool in a crisis, but as soon as something small happens, they just lose it? This could be a sign of past trauma. Small triggers can lead to intense emotional responses. They might even be considered overreacting, because past experiences still haunt these women, even if it's not obvious. She seems more mature. Have you ever heard, "You're so mature for your age"? It's not always a good thing. So if you meet a young woman and you're like, "Wow, she's really so mature for her age," it might actually be perceived parentification, as she's had to take on tasks and responsibilities that should have been handled by the grown-ups in her life. So she's not necessarily more mature, she's just comfortable with the defensive practice of setting aside her own needs to resolve conflict and just keep the peace at all costs. And if she's been through a lot, she may have formed this hyper-independent personality, which can cause her to isolate herself from vulnerability or steer clear of committed relationships. She just wants to do everything herself and not be let down by anyone else like she has in the past. She's hesitant to ask for and accept help. If a woman never asks for help, it's not because she doesn't need it. We could all use a little bit of help, right? But rather, it's because she's learned the hard way that relying on others leads to disappointment. It doesn't matter if it was a parent that failed to meet her needs or an ex-partner from her past that just didn't show up for her. She is no longer willing to trust without restraint. She just takes on the responsibilities of care and support herself because she just doesn't want to be let down or abandoned anymore. A woman who's been through a lot doesn't trust others easily. As I just mentioned, trust is a major issue for women who've been through things. When you've been let down by the people close to you, trusting others in adulthood becomes a monumental challenge. If you were taught that old adage, "Nobody is coming to save you," from an early age, you learned that even the people closest to you could sabotage your health, well-being, and happiness. Trust issues often destroy healthy relationships in adulthood for these women, which further isolates them and leads them to unhealthy coping mechanisms. Ever heard of mommy wine time? It's not great. She's always prepared for the worst. Are you always expecting the worst? It has a name. It's called catastrophizing, and it is a trauma response. When you've never felt safe or protected, you prepare for the worst because it's the only way that you know how to stay in control. You live your life in constant fight or flight mode, and it's exhausting. She's incredibly empathetic and understanding. Women who've experienced the most pain in their lives often become the most empathetic people, as they needed that same care at some point and never received it. So yeah, they turn into empaths. Woohoo! They know what it feels like to feel unheard and unvalued, so they make sure others feel seen and supported. It's like they're driven by this deep need to show others the kindness and compassion they never received themselves. These women are occasionally loyal to a fault. Sometimes a woman who's been through just a lot in her life stays loyal even when it's really toxic for her. It's not that she enjoys this being disrespected thing, but that past trauma is creeping back in, and it's making her believe that the loyalty is worth any price. It's this nasty cycle where she has this tendency to seek out experiences and relationships that have the same toxicity that she experienced in her past, and that can lead her to tolerate unhealthy behavior from others. Since she's made time and effort to prioritize these relationships currently in her life, she's willing to put up with bad behavior and conditions because it means she's loyal. She's sensitive to shifts in body language and energy. These women are hyper aware of people's energy, tone, and body language, and this sensitivity to those things, it comes from always being on edge during past stressful situations, so they now try to read others so they can avoid that conflict or discomfort that they experienced previously. It has a name. It's called fawning, and it's where someone actively works to please and safeguard a toxic person's feelings to avoid outbursts. So she's looking for them before they happen so that she can avoid them and make them happy. So she's very good at reading people, but it's really nothing more than a survival skill that she developed in childhood that's been carried to her adulthood. She finds joy in the little things, which is probably something we should all be doing, but these women who've been through a lot, they need the little things. Because after going through tough times growing up and through their young adulthood, these small and significant moments in their lives become precious to them. Women who've been through a lot may even hyper-focus on these little things. It's something like a simple text from a friend or a partner just doing the bare minimum and showing up for her. Even a quiet moment alone can feel like a gift. It's her way of finding hope and healing amid the chaos. Women who've been through a lot in life are not necessarily interested in making new friends or being social. These women prefer staying in their comfort zones and tend to isolate where they feel the most comfortable. While many of us seek out new friendships during our lives, women who've been through a lot may just want to keep that inner circle small and tight. New social connections are just too hard and feel too risky for these women, so safe relationships with friends or partners provide all the support and comfort that she thinks she needs. She may adopt different personalities around different people. She's something of a chameleon, because women who've been through a lot in life may shift their personality based on the situation. It's not about being fake, it's more of a coping mechanism. It allows someone who's coping with trauma to dissociate from uncomfortable and overwhelming feelings and emotions. Switching personas helps her manage situations, but it can also make her seem unpredictable and even be disorienting to other people. If you meet someone new and they seem to check a lot of these boxes, it's likely that she's been through a lot up to this point in her life. And remember, these signs aren't just random quirks. They're a reflection of deep resilience, shaped by everything she's endured. And if this seems to be you, just remember the power that you hold. Your past may shape the person that you are, but it doesn't have to define your future. So go out there and make it happen.